is up, guys? It's Jimbo here, and welcome back to another video. If you're familiar with my channel, you will know that I enjoy Warhammer, mainly the 40k variety, but I've also dabbled a little bit in fantasy, so you can imagine my feelings when Frontier reached out to me to look into their newest release, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin, a real-time strategy game in the universe of Sigmar. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Frontier graciously offered me an early code, and I've been playing this for the last few days, and somehow the time on the clock has been evaporating. Today, we're going to be diving into the game, see what it has to offer, and talking all things Sigmar. If you are unfamiliar with what RTS games are, let me give you a brief explanation of Realms of Ruin's premise in how the gameplay works. It's an RTS, which means you take your little units, you attack another enemy little units, you capture objectives, and you win. Yay! The game works on a very simple rock, paper, scissors system. Sword units beat shield units beat ranged units beat sword units, and then we go around in a nice little rock, paper, scissors, and that's the whole element of gameplay. This game works within these confines and adds a little bit of spice with the characters or the heroes that you'll be using within the game. A traditional 1v1 skirmish will have you competing for victory points. Usually these are plates, or you have to go and destroy the enemy team's muster point or command base. And a lot of the time you'll be looking at getting these conduits that are on the map. Conduits are very important because the currency being earned, i.e. command points and realm stone, are going to be important for getting more units, for being able to get upgrades, to get better units, to capture the win conditions and win and get victory. Huzzah! As the game progresses, you can get upgrades for your units, level up your muster point for higher tier units, and strike a balance between the units that you have going into that all-important rock, paper, scissors contest. The essence of the RTS is here, but the spice I spoke about earlier comes in the form of unit powers. Each of the unit has extra abilities that you can upgrade and also apply status effects onto enemy units when you are controlling them. These can heavily influence fights, such as charging into enemies, being able to stun them or stop them from attacking. It's really, really cool, some of the things that you can do, and heroes have these abilities in a plenty. These are going to be so good to invest your time in, and this is the core element of Realms of Ruin. It feels really nice. I have enjoyed jumping into an RTS for the first time in a very long time, and now I'm more familiar with playing on mouse and keyboard. It is a hell of a lot more fun than what I used to do way back when. The core mode of Realms of Ruin is the 18-chapter campaign mode. The TLDR, the stakes of the story are, we need to stop the Orruks, let's get them, in which the Orruks respond, wah! And then events happen and battles end and the campaign finishes. The end. But in all seriousness, the campaign takes roughly 14 to 15 hours or so to complete, if not longer if you're playing on some of the harder difficulties, and it sees the Stormcast Eternal fighting to defend the city until reinforcements arrive. But as always, the fancy little wizard finds the fancy little artifact and going to save the realm.
Why is Jim treating the magician poorly?
The real highlight of the campaign is when you get to play as the other factions. You get to play as the Orruks and their quest to destroy the Stormgits, and you also have a sprinkling of Tzeentch in there, so it adds a variety of gameplay with each faction. Each chapter starts off with a pretty cool animated cutscene with fully voiced characters, and I can appreciate the level of storytelling here. I especially enjoyed the voice acting of the Orruks because they are hilarious. It's always funny to hear these Britishified orcs that we always see in a lot of the 40k media and also in the fantasy, and I love them every time they're on the screen, and even some of the audio effects that we got during battle was quite a nice little detail as well. The best part of the campaign for me is the hyper-specific missions that you undertake as whatever faction you are. For example, you can go on a raiding run behind enemy lines as the Orruks, and you can also take the fight to a war boss as Sigrun, one of the main characters in the game. They offer a welcome break from micromanaging big battles, so you can focus on just a little bit more objective-based gameplay, and it has a nice feel to it. My only gripe is with the campaign is how it finishes. Without spoiling anything, the campaign I feel could have had maybe 4 or 5 missions and explored some of the threads that were told throughout the game, and I expect maybe some DLC could do this or tell a new story, extend on the end of the campaign, but who knows? But that's my only real gripe here. Now you understand the campaign, let's actually talk about the factions in the game, because there are 4 factions in the base game of Realms of Ruin. The the Stormcast Eternals, the spooky scary skeletons of the Ninth Haunt, the bird people disciples of Tzeentch, and the good old Orruks of the Cruel Boy. Each of the 4 factions has a variety of units and upgraded versions of each unit. For example, the Stormcast Eternals have the Vanguard Raptors with Hurricane crossbows. These can be then upgraded into long strike crossbows, just adds them a little bit more damage. And then a lot of my favorite units from the Stormcast Eternals themselves, the big gold self-righteous, we're doing this for Sigmar dudes, is the Prosecutors, which are the winged units, the Storm Drake Guard, which is really cool. It's a dragon drake that comes down and smacks everything around, blows fire everywhere. And then also the Annihilators, 3 massive lads with massive shields there to pump out a bit of damage, but also hold the line. The Orruk units, which are my second favorite faction in the game, have the Gut Rippers, which are your main fighting force. You also have the Slitters, the Hobgrot Slitters, and also the Man-Skewer Bolt Boys, alongside the Trogoth, which is a massively big giant that is there to cause as much damage and chaos. The War Boss is especially as fun because you can get them on top of a great Nashtooth, which allows them to have improved mobility. The third of the factions that I enjoyed using in the game is the Disciples of Tzeentch. They have some insane firepower when it comes to range. The Skyfires that you get at tier 3 are OP. They are just unable to be hit by apart from ranged units. They can just fly up into the air, and unless other flying units hit them, I don't think you're going to be getting them down anytime soon. So they're really, really good. And also the Magister can fly up as well. And then you have the Ogroid Thaumaturgy, who is like a big tank hero that can hold some enemies in place as well. But I would say that Tzeentch are probably the most powerful of the factions when it comes to ranged combat. The fourth and final faction are the Night Haunts. You don't get to play with these in the campaign, but you do get to play with them in Conquest and also in AI skirmishes. They are a very fast army, and also they can swarm people very quickly as well. But you do have to be careful because they are so fast and they are so swarmy. They can die very quickly against some heavier units that are a little bit more pricey, especially with the Stormcast, or even with the Orcs as well. You could potentially run into some issues. But I'll be honest, I didn't play too much with them because I mainly did the campaign and then did some Conquest stuff with the other factions. If I had to put each of the factions into their boxes, I would say the Stormcast Eternals, they're not overly fast, but they are very well-rounded. They have a lot of different options that they can go with. The Orruks rely heavily on buffing their characters and being able to stay in combat a little bit longer. They are very good when they start to overwhelm enemies, especially in the campaign as well. You can do that quite easily. And the Disciples of Tzeentch, as I've already said, they do lack defensive capabilities, but make up for it with insanely high damage with range, and also on top of that, the ability to stay in the air and move around the map a lot easier is very good. And then the Night Haunt will be your very fast attack, being able to get swarms of them out very quickly because they are also very cheap, so you will be able to reach that population cap quite quickly when you are in that early game and overwhelm people with them. But let's talk about some of the other modes within the game. If you're looking for something a little bit extra to extend your time in Realms of Ruin and also practice with the different factions, then look no further than Conquest mode. Conquest mode is a repeatable challenge mode where you can pick any of the 4 factions, fight through a series of 1v1 skirmishes, and ultimately fight an end battle to win. The unique aspect of Conquest mode is the twists or modifiers, essentially. These will make each battle different. They'll either help or hinder you, so you'll make those specific choices before you jump into a battle. I enjoyed my time trying out the different factions in the game and the scenarios, which added a bonus element to gameplay after completing the campaign. You're also going to be able to get a score on this as well. And the interesting thing is you have a seed that you can send to your friends if you're playing the game, and they can see if they can take on the same battles, or if not harder battles, to be able to beat your high score. I'll be 100% honest and say going into Realms of Ruin, I wasn't sure if I could get on board with the RTS gameplay, as it's been a very, very long time since I last played one, and I generally prefer turn-based tactical stuff or the Total War style gameplay where you can pause things. But I had a damn good time with Realms of Ruin, and I think a lot of other players will as well. The units are nicely animated, they have these cool visual effects, they also are able to be seen very up close, and you can also paint your own minis essentially in the character creator part, so you can add your little bit of flavor from the tabletop in there as well. Although the campaign, I think, ended a little bit abruptly, it did capture the essence of the odds that were at stake. Varying the different faction missions and the unit missions as well were very cool. I had a good time with the campaign overall. I just wish that it was a little bit longer. There are 3 big issues though that Realms of Ruin is going to run into. Number 1 is a lack of content going forward, being that there's only 3 modes in the game, 4 if you count AI skirmish. Number 2 is going to be factions. They need more factions in the game, and they do need to add a little bit more to some of the other factions outside of the Stormcast Eternal. I do feel like the Zeech faction needs to be beefed up just a tiny little bit when it comes to their melee units, and also the Nighthaunt, which don't really have a whole lot of staying power with some of their units as well. I do feel that they need to be buffed up as well. Maybe they need to like add an update with more units and such. And then more factions within the Age of Sigmar universe is going to be great for the game as well. And then number 3 is that it's going to be compared to Dawn of War and Dawn of War 2. While those games are absolutely fantastic and amazing, this game is going to be fighting an uphill battle to win some of those fans over to come and check the game out. If you're not really interested in Warhammer Fantasy, you may not want to check this out. But also, Dawn of War 1 and 2 are very good RTS games, so people are still going to be I think people still play them to this day. And then there's been another couple of RTS games. I think Company of Heroes 3 came out a couple of months ago. So there is a bit of competition there. Whether or not some prying eyes can be pulled away to play Realms of Ruin remains to be seen. But for me, I still had a lot of fun with the game, and I do recommend that you check it out if you just want a fun RTS game. Once again, I want to thank Frontier for giving me the opportunity to check out the game and sending over a code. If you are new to my channel and you think this was an informative video, a fun video, and you enjoyed it, leave a like on it, subscribe if you are new as well, really helps out, and turn on that big old notification bell. And as always, this has been It's Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.